What role has reflection played in shaping your personal growth?
I've spent a lot of time reflecting on my personal life. I've had good and bad luck that I've had a lot of time to spend time thinking about sort of where I'm going and what I'm doing with myself. I was a Peace Corps volunteer fresh out of college, and it sounds very exciting. I was in West Africa, and when I tell people about my experience, they think, oh, it's so exciting because they hear about, oh, I had malaria, and then I had dengue fever, and then, oh my God, I had dysentery, and I went to Ghana, I went to Mali, and I was on this train where these bandits were running on the roofs. It sounds so exciting, but what you don't realize is that, the 23 other hours of the day, you're sitting there sweating and waiting for something to happen. And one of the funny things about the country where I was, it was a Muslim country, and a lot of time was kept by the 5 prayers. So you would call a meeting and you'd say sometime between second and third prayer, which is like a 4-hour interval. So you're just sitting there for 4 hours waiting and hoping someone's going to come to your meeting because you're not really sure what time it was supposed to happen. So you have a lot of downtime. And that was all time for reflection. When I first arrived in the country, in the Gambia, I didn't speak either of the local languages. And so you're very isolated, which means you spend a lot of time with yourself. And I think it was a really good opportunity for me. I think, especially in this day and age where we're so hyper-connected, and, if you live in a city and there's just so much stimulus and different things going around, you don't have an opportunity to just completely check out. I was off the grid. At that point, there was almost no cell phone service. I definitely didn't have electricity. And I had no functional way of communicating with anyone because no one spoke any English. And so, while I'd spend time trying to learn the local language, sometimes you just get so exhausted and drained that you just go home and you're in your own thoughts, and you've got, the BBC World Service and sort of some English friendly voices in the background, but you spend a lot of time thinking about well, sometimes I thought what the heck am I doing here? But then you spend a lot of time thinking where is this going? What would I like to do with myself? And I think it really helped me confront challenges later on because you really get to know yourself better. I don't want to judge what people do and don't do, but I think a lot of people don't spend a lot of time just by themselves thinking. And, some people meditate, people do yoga, but, I spent basically almost 3 years very, very isolated, and I had my community and I had my people around me, but it was a long time to get to that point where I felt like I was part of the community. And you still, even when you get accepted, you're still a little bit of an outsider. Mm-hmm. And I had, again, a similar experience after my Peace Corps service. I traveled and I spent, some time in India, which was fantastic, but just completely overwhelming. And after a month or two, I walked to Nepal and I went to Lumbini, which is the birthplace of Buddha. And a lot of traditionally Buddhist countries have built temples there. And I just told them I was a pilgrim, and I just completely checked out for a couple of weeks. And I just sat, I'm not Buddhist, but, I told them I was a pilgrim, I was interested in Buddhism, and I just sat with the monks and just completely checked out of life and just sort of sat and reflected and thought about, this crazy experience that I had in India where I was literally lost for 2 months because I kept getting on the wrong train, this whole crazy Peace Corps experience that I had just finished. And it was a really, really nice way of sort of unwinding a little bit. And I'm very much of a philosophy that it's good to check out a little bit and to reflect on your life and think about things and give your brain a little bit of downtime and, put the phone away and put the computer away a little bit and, spend some time just with yourself. And you can spend time with yourself feeling comfortable with yourself. I feel like that makes you more able to be happy in all your other relationships.